Greetings, everyone! I am LunarKitten0, and today we are checking out Ferrus Manus, the Gorgon, by the Remembrancer. I'm going to be very clueless on this one. I don't even know this name. The only thing that pops in my head when I say Ferrus is I'm thinking Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's as far as my brain goes. The Gorgon, though, I believe I've heard that name used for like Medusa-like creatures. I might be wrong. Let me know what myth I'm thinking of, but I know I've heard the Gorgon mentioned before. Maybe they'll tell me here in the video. I'm not really sure. But yes, we are continuing our trip into learning about the Primarchs and their legion. I don't even know what legion Ferrus here is supposed to be in charge of, what the name of them are, so hoping to find that out as well. But yeah, I'm very curious as where we're going to go with this. Like, is he I'm gonna assume, since I haven't heard much about him, that he might not be alive, most likely. But enough yapping for me. Let's find out who Ferrus Manus is.
Rest.
Okay.
We were not made to rest.
Oh, okay.
We go on, unflinching, unstoppable, unending in our strength.
Nice.
The Emperor did not make us for such mortal concerns as hearth and home, vanity or contemplation.
Okay.
We are his engines of war, his hammers, beating out the fabric of existence into a vessel fit for mankind to inhabit.
Interesting.
Many of the Primarchs of the Imperium.
Okay, I have to pause, because you guys know why. I gotta take a moment to appreciate my Primarch, Sanguinius. As you guys know, I did like 2 to 3 weeks covering the Blood Angels, particularly Sanguinius, his speech, his first time meeting his legion, and sadly his battle with Horus, which still, proves my point that Horus is a jerk. But anyways, I'm just really happy to see that picture again. Just, his wings are so pretty. But enough me gushing, we'll keep going.
Imperium are adored for their benevolence, but not all exhibit the traits of grace or kindness. Though the traitor Primarchs particularly are remembered for their bloodlust and cold demeanor, there is one true son of the Emperor whose commitment to the Imperium's ideals were ironclad. A Primarch whom, should he achieve his goals and duties without fault, would care not how the subjects of the Imperium...
Wait, I know these. So, hold on. That's Rubute Gilliman Ultramarines, and that's something Khan, or Khan something. I just remember Khan, and all I can think is Star Trek, when they yell Khan. That's about as far as my brain goes. And White Scars. So, I got those two.
Should he achieve his goals and duties without fault, would care not how the subjects of the Imperium would see him. A taskmaster and courageous leader, this Primarch led his legion as a harsh but fair commander.
Is that Ferrus? Not what I expected him to look like. I'm gonna be honest, I probably was just expecting more of a bald guy. They're usually bald. Or just, I don't know. I wasn't expecting another one with kind of nice hair. Either way, very cool picture, and I don't recognize the guys around him, so I'm becoming more and more curious.
Primarch of the 10th Legion,
10th Legion,
Ferrus Manus.
Right. Ferrus.
As the sons of the Emperor were scattered throughout the stars, Ferrus Manus's pod would land on the feral world of Medusa, impacting on
Medusa, Gorgon, Medusa. See, I knew this term. Also, that's cool. You got like this volcano thing. You got this, I'm assuming that's a giant statue and not actually a giant like mech robot with this sword, but then again it could be. It's 40k. And I'm assuming this is one of their factory planets by the looks of it. Or it's a city built on top of a volcano, which, I mean, if they think they can harness that and not get burnt to a crisp, that's all on them. It does look like a factory planet, though, to me. But so the planet is named Medusa. Well, that answers my Gorgon part. Let's back up a little bit, and I want to hear that again, so I make sure I don't miss anything.
Ferrus Manus's pod would land on the feral world of Medusa, impacting on the highest mountain, Karashi, the ice pinnacle.
Oh, okay.
The capsule shattered the mountaintop, burying itself deep into the ice. Medusa's surface collapsing, reforming and shifting with the arrival of the Primarch.
Wait. So, his pod crashes on this high mountain, I believe, is what they're saying. Like, I guess Mount Saint, or I want to say Mount Saint, Mount Everest for us. I was mixing Mount Saint Helen with Everest. It's weird. But basically on a really high mountain peak, and it buried in, and I guess this mountain peak was all snowy and icy, and it caused the landscape to reshape. Now that's interesting, because when we heard about what's his name, Conrad, plowing into the crust of his planet, which you guys explained to me why he was able to go into there so deep, was because they had been abusing their planet so much that it was just basically almost hollow, and it was easy to just go right into it. You didn't hear about the surface being impacted, like there was no shifting or anything. I assume there was a crater from where he impacted, but it sounds like, from what little bit I've gathered, there wasn't anything big that affected the world, where here he caused, as you can see from this picture, like things to shift and collide and change. It's almost like he created an earthquake, and the fault lines are like smashing it up and going over each other and stuff like that. Or what you would have in a fault line. I mean, it's like, the tectonic plates crashing and whatnot. That's interesting, and that just shows you how hard these Primarchs are definitely hitting these planets.
Growing in solitude, Ferrus would inspect the markings on his pod, embossed with an X. Realizing it not to be native of the world, Manus would further examine runes and electroconductive stalagmites within the chamber in which he lived, his interference awakening a colossal biomechanical worm that lay dormant beneath the chamber, and after a futile effort to fight it, Ferrus would watch the creature escape and destroy everything within its path. The young boy would swear.
Wait. Huh. That was a lot of information. So, he got barreled into a snowy mountain, basically. Turns out there was some type of alien thing there, and I'm not going to guess on which one, because I have several thoughts, but I'm not sure if any of them are right. And there was a mechanical, like, I guess they said worm thing. He tried to fight it. I mean, he was a kid, so he couldn't take it. But it gets out, and it just starts decimating stuff. So it's kind of like he unleashed a Terminator on this planet, if I'm understanding this correctly. So, I am going to take a guess. I'm thinking it's that, what was the name of it? Necron? I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. You guys know who I mean. The robotic guys who, threw themselves in the furnace, came out as robots. I want to say Necrons, but I'm not sure if I'm saying that word correctly. I might be mixing it up with another word. So he found that, and he grew up alone too. That's the other part. So he was isolated, and I'm guessing he can survive without eating and drinking for a while. You guys said that they're able to do that, because I'm thinking he's buried deep in this chamber, And I'm like, is he eating anything? Is he drinking anything in there? And how's he learning to be a person if he's isolated? You know, like speech and stuff. I'm assuming that's just they know a lot of this stuff. It's kind of like already baked into them. But it does make me wonder a lot about how he literally survived.
That one day it would die by his hands.
Oh,
The
okay.
boy would then observe the world outside, see
Wait a minute. That chick almost looks like the chick in Warhammer 40k Space Marine that I just recently started playing. If you guys haven't checked that out, go check it out. But it it almost looks like Lieutenant. I forget what her name was. Um, if it's not, it's very close, and at least that's the first person I thought of when I looked at it. Either way, she looks awesome. Um, Not sure about the guys on the right though. Either way, the dude with the claws is like, that's awesome. Again with the skulls, the glitter of 40k, skulls, skulls, skulls. Um, I know skulls is like kind of a holy symbol, you know, for them, kind of like a equivalent of people wearing, you know, religious marks. But it makes me giggle every time I see so many skulls everywhere. Either way, uh, very interesting uh, pictures here. I like the artwork, and it is really good at showing, like, you got kind of like the higher um, rank on the right here. You can tell their uniform's a lot nicer. They're actually looking a little bit cleaner. They've seen some battle, but maybe this is right before a battle or they just got there. I can't tell. Then you got the girl on the left with her guys. You can see one guy's got a like cloth over his eye. He's probably lost an eye. They have been through it. They are torn up and they're still ready to keep fighting. And that's just awesome. But let me back up because I'm not 100% sure what Remembrancer was saying right there because I got distracted by her making me think of Lieutenant from the game I started playing. So let's see.
by his hands. The boy would then observe the world outside, seeing humans in the distance, but remaining hidden from their gaze. As years passed, the clans of Medusa would discuss sightings of a strange boy, being dubbed names by the many sects and groupings of inhabitants, such as the Cataclysm, the Hunter, the Finality, and the Son of Man.
Interesting. So he became like Bigfoot on his planet. Like people swear they saw him. Now, the names that they give him are interesting, particularly the last one. Wonder why they thought Son of Man. Were they not human people? I mean, it is called the planet of Medusa. So maybe? Well, no, he said observing humans. Just what made them feel like that was the correct name? Because I know the Emperor is the Emperor of mankind. So I'm curious why that name popped up to him. And also, I paused at an interesting spot. This guy's got like silver arms and another bald-headed guy. Black armor. Yay, black armor. He has a hand symbol. Is this maybe the Iron Hand symbol? I know that's a legion, I think. The hammer's kind of odd. Oh, wait. That's the eagle on the hammer. And then on the shoulder there, it looks like Medusa. So this must be... Is this Ferrus Manus? Huh. Either way, I like the artwork. It's interesting.
More years passed until the Primarch was fully grown. Unscathed from living isolated within the mountain's core, Manus would not join with the clans of Medusa, instead seeking challenges on the planet to test his might and resilience.
Okay, so he does not get... It doesn't sound like he gets adopted parents like all the other Primarchs so far had. Or at least, you know, somebody to kind of look after him. And he just roams around beating things up. It almost sounds like he went a little Goku just looking for a good fight. At least the earlier versions of DBZ story. I don't know where the later story goes, but I just remember Goku always wanted to fight the strongest guy, just to, see who's stronger. Yeah, so interesting that he basically stays an orphan and doesn't like try to live among the people of this world, or doesn't have something bad happen to him like his brothers, or try to take it over like some of his other brothers. I mean, so far he might end up trying to like rule them later, but at this point in the story that we are hearing, it's just interesting that I expected him to have either gotten adopted or enslaved, or one of the other terrible things that could happen to you when you land on these planets. I was not expecting him to remain kind of a lone wolf, which is funny because if you think about it, Leo was kind of that way, but then he kind of gets adopted while being a wild kid in nature, where this guy kind of has that similar origin but doesn't get adopted. So it's kind of cool to see two different ways brothers with similar beginnings branch differently.
Slaying many ferocious beasts would prove his raw strength, culminating with his battle against the great silver worm, Asirnov,
Okay,
the
so he took it
metallic
out.
beast which he had vowed to destroy. Impervious to conventional weapons, Ferrus would drown it in a river of magma, its flesh melting and fusing with the Primarch's arms, imbuing the Primarch with his legendary necrodermis-coated arms, with which his future legion would make their namesake.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that it is the Iron Hands and that's where they get that from. But let me understand exactly what happened there, because my brain is a little broken. So he finally faces that silver worm, but no weapon can really destroy it. So the only way to defeat this thing was to fight it in a volcano, inside of a volcano, drown it in lava, which, how did that not burn him? I'm going to assume, again, this is a power of a Primarch to withstand lava. And while he's melting this thing in lava, its metal coats his arms. And that's how he gets that look. It's like a reverse Wolverine. Except instead of coating the bones, it coated the outside of his body. And how he withstood that. Dude was already tough, and he wasn't, I think he was full grown by then, but still, he was younger, than his brothers, and he was already pulling this stuff off. I mean, sure, his other brothers did very impressive things, but I don't see all of them walking around with metal-coated arms and fought in a volcano. Maybe we should have used him for Lord of the Rings. Like, no, we don't want Frodo to do it. We want that guy. Why? He can survive lava. Nope, never mind. I take that back because I just thought about that. Like, wait a minute. If he went and put the ring into the volcano and that ring melted and got on him, like it did with the worm, that wouldn't be destroying the ring. That would be just transferring it into something else. I ran down a path there. Sorry. Just thought process of my own. I will think on it more later. Either way, I'm still... It just shows you how mind broken I am that that's why his arms are silver. And that's why, as you can see from this picture, right there behind me, the one guy's got like a metal, almost Terminator looking hand arm. It's because of that. Of this worm he melted in a volcano. That broke my brain.
Returning to the clans and tribes, Manus would divulge his knowledge of technology, advancing their stunted civilization and allowing Medusa to prosper under the rule of his iron grip.
Okay, so now he does
Though the
take it
clans
over.
would fight amongst themselves, Ferrus would never intervene, seeing the competition wrought by their infighting to be healthy for their continued improvement. With the arrival of the Emperor, Manus would test his father through battle,
Oh.
leveling entire mountains as they fought. Manus would relish the test of his strength, and willingly bend the knee to a warrior worthy of matching his power.
So once again, the Emperor shows up, and one of his sons are like, "Let's go, Dad. Let's throw down. Let's fight." And and they break into a fight. And this fight, this planet's already gone through some stuff, and now it's going through more because these dudes are knocking down mountains in their, DBZ style fighting. And in the end, he's like, "Oh, okay, you're stronger, Dad. I bow to you." And I'm just had the thought in my head of the Emperor going, is there ever going to be a day where I just show up and one of my sons doesn't try to knock my teeth in? And I know he did have some Primarchs who didn't. But I just feel like after so many times, he just is like, okay, which one is it going to be? Are they going to be like, "Yay, Dad," or "Dad, I'm going to punch you in the face"? I mean, he's always playing that like coin flip, Is my son going to hit me or be cool with me? Not sure. Of course, he probably researched it a lot, so he knew what to expect. Like, oh, I can tell by the way he's running this planet, he's going to punch me in the face. I'm also distracted by the design of this character. I really love the armor. The sword in particular is really nice. I'm so used to seeing more of the tech blade, so seeing more of a traditional actual sword is really cool. I don't know what he got, took care of, but he needs to clean that blade. Don't want to damage that blade. You don't want to leave it on there to cause rust. That I'm sure in the future they rust proof things, right? I'm gonna guess. That's my theory anyways. But I like the look of this character. Also, this seems like a mix of before he went full Empire and he's got like that wild hair, and I guess later the picture we keep seeing the black and white drawing with the hair more like, I'm not exactly going to say shaved, but more military style versus this wild style. I like the way the artists are slightly showing the difference without, drawing full attention to it. It's really good.
Assuming command of the 10th Legion, the Iron Hands would stand obediently at their father's side, for soon they would be needed to fight the Emperor's great crusade.
Fighting the boys.
Fulgrim would be one of the first Primarchs to meet Ferrus Manus.
Oh, again.
Initially,
why? Hold on. Let's go back. Fulgrim again. Fulgrim does not need to be meeting people. I know before he turns into chaos, there was a lot of good reasons they sent people to Fulgrim. But considering what we know about Fulgrim, hindsight's 2020, and yeah, this was all bad ideas. Also, again, Fulgrim with the fab hair. Just so pretty. And I'm not being biased because it's white hair. Maybe a little.
Would be one of the first Primarchs to meet Ferrus Manus. Initially, Manus would show disdain for his brother, seeing him as a foppish artist wasting time on culture, whilst the reclamation of the galaxy was at stake.
Okay, I think it's funny.
Fulgrim would jokingly refer to Ferrus as the Gorgon.
Hold on.
Was at stake. Fulgrim would...
So Fulgrim was teasing Ferrus going, "All right, snake boy," and then Fulgrim becomes the snake boy. That's funny. That is not lost on me. The fact that this guy's from Medusa, Ferrus calls him a Gorgon, and then Ferrus becomes a snake man. Somewhere the Weavers of the Fate has a great sense of humor, and I love it. But I also like the fact that they're like typical brother siblings, kind of picking and teasing on each other. It's just, he becomes a snake man, and he called him a Gorgon. That's so good.
Jokingly refer to Ferrus as the Gorgon, a mythical Terran creature renowned for its ugliness and ability to turn men into stone.
Yeah, Medusa. See, I always thought Medusa was just the only one with the snake and the stone thing. And then I learned about the Gorgons. And that's why when at the beginning of this, I was like, wait, I swear I've heard the Gorgon name. Now it's coming back to me, the lore and the legend. Either way, the Medusa legend I only really know from, what's that old movie? I want to say Jason and the Argonauts, but I'm not sure if it's that. If you guys know which old movie it is an old movie, like really old. Where the guy fights Medusa and he uses like a shield and it's like a mirror, so that's how she sees herself and turns to stone. I know a lot of movies have done that scene, but I'm thinking one from like, God, how old is this movie? Maybe the 1960s, 70s? Maybe, I don't want to say 50s. It's got to be definitely in the 60s. It could have been an 80s movie. But it's around that area of time, and I don't remember the name of it. I think that was also the one that had the mechanical owl. I remember the mechanical owl because I thought it was really cool. Either way, that's about as far as my knowledge on this goes. Just that's from seeing an old movie and reading a little bit on the lore. Like this picture that he chose, though. Can you imagine running into that? Ugh. Nobody likes me. Yeah, it's because you've got snakes in your hair, lady. And you keep turning all your dudes to stone, which, that's not good. But it's such a really good bit of art. Like, I can't help but stare at it. The scale work on the head and the body is so good. I love the mix of monster and humanoid. It's so well done, so good. Alright, I gotta stop staring. Let's continue.
The moniker would resound throughout the Imperium as fitting for the Primarch of the Iron Hands, the Legion bringing untold thousands of planets into compliance due to their Primarch's remorseless and relentless drive to fulfill the will of his Emperor, purging every weak link in his chain of command or non-compliant world in pursuit of strengthening the Imperium. Fighting alongside the Emperor's children on many occasions, such as the compliance of the human disparate civilization, the two legions would forge tremendous bonds of trust and friendship, despite their unlikely contrast as warriors.
Contrast? Let's see. You have over on the right the emo child, and on the left the one who's like sunshine and rainbows. Because, well, not rainbows in this case, it would be purple. Either way, the bright color contrast versus the dark grim side is not lost on me. And I know what purple now represents. Like, anything I see purple now, I know people are like, purple represents this or that. For me, thanks to 40K, anytime I see purple, my brain immediately goes, Slanesh. I just see it and I'm just like, I'm now wary. Why? It's purple. Don't trust it. Could be bad. So, yeah. And then, you know, you got this dark, gritty, and I'm a sucker for dark colors to begin with. But definitely, when they say in the far future, you know, the grim far future or whatever, this is grim. That is what I think of grim. I don't think of the guy on the left. I think of the guy on the right. The guy on the left, though, if I saw that in a world that is this dark and, you know, dangerous, I would already know that's trouble. I'm like, why is it in bright colors and looks happy? That's not a good thing. But I do like the contrast. Very good contrast usage of images here to make a point. This is why I love reacting to Remembrancer stuff. So beautifully executed in a way of using images to really hit home the differences in things. Or just to really help you wrap your mind around, like, oh yeah, definitely a big difference here.
Fulgrim had even boasted that he would create the perfect weapon to wield in the coming Great Crusade. As a master craftsman, the Gorgon would not let such a boast go unwarranted,
Oh.
and decided that they should compete to craft the finest weapons. Manus forged a sword known as Fireblade, its edge able to ignite.
Oh! This is the one I think you guys were trying to explain to me where the Emperor's, I think that's the Emperor, holding that fire sword, because I thought the fire sword was awesome. So, Ferrus made that. Okay. I mean, it makes sense. He knows how to work with fire. I mean, lava planet, or well, lava volcano in of his planet, so. Oh, I like that though. And plus, every time I think of fire sword, it does tie back to biblical stories of the. I don't know if that sword had a name, but I do remember the sword of fire, and I think an archangel was supposed to wield it. Maybe Michael, not positive. But I do remember, like, vaguely stories of that. Either way, really cool sword. Love it. Love the design.
Like to that of the Emperor's own weapon of choice, with Fulgrim.
Oh, okay, so hold up, back that up. Let me hear that again. So it's not the Emperor's sword, but it's similar to the Emperor's sword. I think that's what he's saying. If that's true, then where did the Emperor get the fire sword from? Because that thing's awesome as well.
The finest weapons. Manus forged a sword known as Fireblade, its edge able to ignite, alike to that of the Emperor's own weapon of choice, with Fulgrim forging the mighty Warhammer Forgebreaker, a weapon.
Forgebreaker. Now this is the one I believe. What was the story? We went over it in older videos. Oh, curse my mind for leaving me. I know we were talking about this weapon because I believe this weapon becomes tainted, maybe? I just remembered there was a lot of talk about the weapon Fulgrim forged.
Weapon capable of leveling entire mountains.
Oh.
The two would see their brother's craftsmanship as superior and concede defeat, and in an act of respect and solidarity, exchange their weapons. Their bond as brothers, now complete. However, during the Horus Heresy, their kinship would be tested and tragically torn asunder.
Yeah, I have a feeling Ferrus is going to be wiped out by Fulgrim. That's my thought. I'm not sure if I'm right, but that's what I think happens.
Fulgrim would be lured by the temptations of chaos, and before the beginning stages of the heresy, would try to persuade Ferrus Manus to join his cause.
As always.
Enraged at even the suggestion of such an act, Ferrus attacked Fulgrim, a short duel wherein Ferrus would break Fireblade, mirroring the breaking of the bond of their brotherhood.
Oh! So he broke that sword. Aw, that was a really cool sword. But, man, that sucks when your favorite sibling's like, I'm gonna go evil now. You wanna get in on this? And you're like, nope. Okay, well, now we have to fight. It seems like that happens a lot with these Primarchs. One brother's like, yeah, I'm gonna go evil. You want in on this? No? Okay, well, now I have to beat you up. But, yeah, that sword was cool. I'm, like, sad for the breakage of that sword. Fire swords are awesome.
Due to a hesitation to kill his brother for his treachery, Fulgrim would take the opportunity to strike Ferrus unconscious and claim his own creation, Forgebreaker. The Gorgon's elite honor guard of the Morlocks would be ambushed and killed during the deception, injuring their captain Gabriel Santor, letting him watch the betrayal unfold. Gaining consciousness, Ferrus Manus would resolve to enact his revenge on his traitorous brother. Departing with all haste, the Gorgon would lead a charge of loyalist legions to destroy the traitor forces before their armies could engage the wider Imperium. With the aid of the Salamanders, Raven Guard, Night Lords, Iron Warriors, Word Bearers, and Alpha Legion at his command, they would quash the traitor legions of the World Eaters, Death Guard, Sons of Horus, and Emperor's Children with overwhelming force of numbers. The battle would take place on Istvan V, with the loyalist initial waves of Vulcan, Corvus Corax, Ferrus Manus and their respective legions engaging the traitors, with victory assured should their loyalist inbound legions be at their side. their trust in their brothers would be misplaced.
Oh. They were doing technically so good, and then it's not gonna go very good anymore. But interesting. So Fulgrim didn't kill him, knocked him out. So I'm guessing this is before Fulgrim fully loses himself to chaos. Kind of still has a heart, and it sounded like he took the weapon, which I'm believing is going to be a bad thing, because I think when Fulgrim takes that weapon, it gets tainted, and the next person to wield it, it becomes like a corrupted weapon. Like, you shouldn't have that weapon. That's a bad weapon. But that's a lot fighting against a lot. Like, I keep forgetting how many legions are versing each other. Like, the Chaos ones versus the Imperial ones, and how much they had to like team up to take out the other side. Of course, like it said, that's going to be not a good thing, because I think one of them are still a traitor. I can't remember clearly. We'll find out here.
As the second wave descended upon Istvan V, they would show their true colours.
Yeah.
With the strength of 8 traitor legions, they would crush the loyalists. Istvan V was no longer a battle, it was a massacre. In an act of desperate defiance, Ferrus Manus would command his men to kill as many Emperor's children as they could.
Emperor's children, and wasn't the other legions there that... I'm trying to remember. Oh, either way, so yeah, that's when they turn, and so it went from, like I said, they were doing good, and then they started getting wiped out because the other group goes, surprise, we were bad all along, and that sucks. At least that's how I'm understanding how this battle went. If I'm getting that info wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments. I do get so much information that I mix it all together and get a little confused. Either way, it did not go well for them. And I like this picture. I'm distracted by this picture. It's so hard sometimes to talk. Just seeing the two battles here, if I could back it up even a little bit, there we go, is you see the divide. You got the one on the right, the one on the left. Got that up there on the hill. Those two fighting. I think that might be Fulgrim, and that might be Ferrus up there fighting. The only reason I'm thinking that is it looks like Fulgrim's fabulous hair, so that's why I'm thinking there's a Primarch battle going on up there, like gods fighting on a mountain. Either way, really good battle scene. Love this image. There's just so much to look at. Like, sometimes I just get quiet and just want to keep staring at it. But let's keep going.
Ferrus Manus would command his men to kill as many Emperor's children as they could. The Gorgon would face his brother Fulgrim again in battle, but this time only one Primarch would survive. Ferrus wielded Fireblade, reforged by his hand for one purpose:
he put it back together.
Fulgrim's life.
Okay.
Fulgrim would fight with the Layer Blade, a demon-infused sword which would aid Fulgrim's strike.
Bad sword.
Cutting the head from the Gorgon's neck.
I'm gonna be honest, that is really great usage of taking his head, because what we know, I believe, of Medusa, Gorgon's, particularly Medusa's story, is that they cut her head off, and I believe they used her head to turn something to stone, and in the movie I remember that. But yeah, so that ties and stays true to lore. It's like what I said with the Blood Angels staying very close to vampiric lore. I like when they do that here, where it's still 40k, it's still their own stuff, but they still stay within the rules of the lore that they're borrowing from or being inspired from. In this case, the whole Medusa Gorgon thing, and they kept the beheading part. It's just, I love little details like that. where they just stay true to the material they're getting their ideas from, and they don't try to, make it more extravagant or, come up with something totally different. And they're just like, no, let's stay on the same theme. Very well done. Also, this picture, a nice sketch kind of look. Looks like, because of the symbols, ultramarine maybe? Maybe this is Rabute? He always seems to show up whenever stuff is going down. Just like magically, he's there.
With news of Ferrus Manus' death, Rabute
See?
Gilliman of the Ultramarines would grieve at the loss of his most favoured brother.
Oh, that was
with
his
even
favorite
Horus
brother.
Lupercal claiming the Gorgon's skull and rambling to its facade.
Do I need to even say what I think and feel about this guy? I think I've said plenty. Horus is a jerk. He sucks. And I'm glad the Emperor wiped him out. Yep. I just had to say it again. I know we all know how I feel about it, but if I see him, I feel the urge to say it again. So, he knows. Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't exist. But if he did exist, just to know, you suck. But it's alright. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm calm. Look, all good. Let's continue.
Confiding that he lamented Ferrus's choice not to stand by his side during the Great War to end the Imperium.
Oh, I'm sad that you didn't choose to go with evil. Yeah, the same way you were sad about that with Sanguinius. Oh, boo-hoo, nobody went with my evil plan because I got turned into chaos. Mr. Daddy Issues still crying over there because nobody wanted to take his side when he's throwing a tantrum. Because let's be honest, that's what it really is. Horus having a big tantrum because Dad didn't give him another gold star, and I would not go down my Horus rant. I will control myself, but it annoys me that he's just like, oh, poor Ferrus. He should have went with me. What a pity. God, it burns me so much. He's such a jerk. It's okay. It's okay. I'm okay.
Though later in the heresy, in a final act of defiance, Manus would be reborn during the Battle of the Webway by the Emperor himself.
What?
Fighting alongside the fallen heroes of the Imperium as a blazing spectre against the demonic hordes.
So he became like a ghostwriter? What? I don't even know how to process this. So he gets reborn, but he's like a specter, a ghost, fighting along, I guess, other kind of ghostly like things. And how does that... Is that a power of the Emperor? I need more info. You guys please let me know in the comments. There's Ghost? Well, why not? It's 40k. I guess there is Ghost. I don't know how to process this. I'm just going to keep going.
The skull of Ferrus Manus would be returned to the Iron Hands.
Okay.
To this day, it rests upon the altar of the Eye of Medusa, guarded by the chapter's stalwart, Hellfather.
Okay.
They are not my hands. This fact is forgotten by my brothers. Inexplicably, it has always seemed to me. The hands are strong, to be sure, and have created great things for us all. But they are not mine, and that counts for something. They forget that the silver on my arms comes from a beast that I vanquished. It is the mark of a great evil that I ended, and yet it persists within me. I would struggle to remove it now. I will not remove the silver from my flesh because I have learned to depend on it. The fault is with my mind. I rely on the augmentation given to me by my metal gauntlets, so much so that the flesh beneath them is now little more than a distant memory. A day will come when I will strip it from me, lest I lose the power to master myself forever. Already my legion's warriors replaced their shield hands with metal in my honor, and so they are too learning to doubt the natural strength of their bodies. They must be weaned of this practice before it becomes a mania for them. Hatred of what is natural, of what is human, is the first and greatest of the corruptions. So I record it here. When the time comes, I will strip my hands of their unnatural silver. I will instruct my legion to recant their distrust of the flesh. I will turn them away from the gifts of the machine and bid them to relearn the mysteries of the flesh, bone and blood. When my father's crusade is over, this shall be my sacred task. When the fighting is done, I shall cure my legion and myself. For if fighting is all there is, if we may never pause to reflect on what such devotion to strength is doing to us, then our compulsion will only grow.
That day never came, it seems. But I mean, I get the logic there in that quote, but as we know, that doesn't happen. Let me know in the comments if I'm right, that to this day the Legion still does that with their arms, that they did not, or I guess they're chapters now, they did not, go back to flesh and bone. And if they did, let me know that as well. But from what I know, they still do it. Either way, it's kind of sad, because you can tell he was expecting a future in which he would one day do it, and then the Horus Heresy happened, and yeah, that day did not come.
This has been a tale of the great Imperium of Man, read by the Remembrancer. Sons of Ultramar, march for Macragge, for in my next Vox transmission, I shall elucidate the deeds of Primarch Rebute Gilliman.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, let's make sure there's nothing else here, because it looks like there's a little bit more. Okay, no, it just looks like this is it. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. I really didn't know much about him, and now I know why, because I was going to say Ferrus. Fulgrim takes him out. And it figures the two brothers with the F names become buddies and just mess with my brain, because I'm going to mix up Ferrus and Fulgrim back and forth now. But it's just kind of sad too, because they were such close siblings, and they even forged weapons for each other, and then Fulgrim had to fall. And then you have this guy who spent his life alone, now had a brother and had a legion, and kind of started having, I guess, what you could call a social life. And that all ends because, again, the Horus Heresy, because Horus sucks. And he really wanted to, get rid of the silver on his arms and, go back to depending on himself and not on the technology he had. And the fact that never comes is also really sad as well. But either way, this was really interesting. Like I said, I didn't know anything about him. And now what I have learned is really sad. And I can't wait to learn a bit more about his legion. I'm curious how they continued on after his death and whatnot. So I can't wait to, dive into that. But for now, if you made it to this point, you rock, you're awesome, and you know it. But if you guys got any additional stuff you want to share with me about Ferrus, feel free to do that in the comments. I love reading everything you guys write, and I'm a bit more curious to know a little bit more. So if you guys got any extra bits of lore, go ahead and feed it right over to me, because I'm ready to gobble that up. More lore, yay! But it is now that point in the video to say the magic words for YouTube, which is, if you like that video, leave a like and subscribe. And I can't wait to learn more about the Iron Hands. I get now why they're called that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. So until next time, you all take care. Bye-bye.